Chapter 28, Under the Cover of Darkness. Now, would you like to know what Aunt Alberta was growing in her greenhouse? I thought you might. This greenhouse sat at the end of the long sloping lawn of Saxby Hall. Alberta had blacked out the windows by painting all the panes of glass and put a huge metal padlock on the door. It was strictly out of bounds to Stella, as it was to everyone else in the family. Absolutely no one was allowed in there, not even Wagner. Once a young Stella asked her aunt how these plants could thrive without sunlight. She was told that these particular plants only grow in the dark. This only served to make the girl even more intrigued as to what was inside. But Alberta guarded her greenhouse jealously, and Stella could never even sneak a peek. Of course, Alberta had been growing the lurking death plant there for 10 years, waiting for the right time to put its poisonous seeds to use. It was just one of many rare plants that Alberta had been growing under the cover of darkness for decades. They were secret plants which very few people in the world knew about. They were all so deadly that Alberta had to tend them in thick leather gloves. These are just some of the plants Alberta grew in her greenhouse. The black rose, beautiful to look at, but if you pricked your finger on a thorn, beware. They contained a venom so strong it could kill an elephant. Fatal fruit. These purple dangling fruits would take a bite out of you before you could take a bite out of them. The bush of doom. Legend has it that its bush's branches could strangle a grown man to death. Voodoo ferns. These plants could be burned in an ancient magic rituals to commit evil. Witch's moss, a noxious smelling moss that could lead to severe choking and even death. Whispering lilies. These were known to whisper bad things about you when your back was turned and slowly send you mad. Creeping conifers, known to move around in the dark before they pounced. Hypnotic hydrangeas. These could make you lose weight or stop smoking, but were equally likely to hypnotize you into committing terrible crimes. Crewberry. Their sweet smell made people believe that crewberries were safe to eat. One tiny bite would kill you instantly. Hissing orchid. When you bent down to sniff it, it would squirt poison at you. Let's return to the story. Right now, in the kitchen, Detective Strauss was breaking into a terrible sweat. The man had mentioned the lurking death plant as part of Stella's proposed police statement. How on earth had he known about that? Stella had only supposed her parents had been poisoned. She didn't know how exactly. It was all coming together in the girl's mind now. The ground-up seeds of the lurking death plant must have been what Alberta put in the family's tea that fateful morning. That was why Stella blacked out. That was why the Rolls-Royce crashed. Poor Mama and Papa hadn't stood a chance, and now Detective Strauss had given himself away. He knew more than he was letting on. Much, much more. Anxiously, the man jabbed the pen towards the girl. Just sign the statement at the bottom here, miss. No. Stella was growing in confidence now. How did you know that my aunt grew strange plants in her greenhouse? Stella had turned the tables on the detective. Now she was interrogating him. You are becoming delusional, miss. I never said anything about a lurking death plant. Yes, you did, insisted Stella. At this moment the detective was sweating like mad, and his luxuriant moustache seemed to be starting to peel off. The moisture had evidently dislodged the glue, and now the moustache was hanging off the upper lip. Your moustache is coming off, exclaimed the girl. Don't be absurd, miss. I grew it only this morning. without the man turned his back on her and rearranged whatever it was he had stuck on his upper lip. When he turned back around, Stella saw he had managed to put the thing back on upside down. "It's the wrong way up," shouted the girl. As the man fiddled frantically with his fake facial hair, Stella snatched the piece of paper from out of his hand. Her eyes scanned it as quickly as they could. It wasn't a police report at all. It was the deeds to Saxby Hall, the very deeds that her awful aunt needed her niece to sign so that the house could finally be hers. "It's you, isn't it?" exclaimed the girl. "Oh, very well, child. Yes, it's me," the wicked woman purred, ripping off her thick-framed glasses, which formed part of her disguise. "Your beloved Aunt Alberta."